excited to host these. We really love being able to talk to some of our industry partners and friends about all things happening in real estate and marketing, whatever your corner of the world represents. And so today I'm really excited. Heather and I are both really excited to have our old friend, Brena Nath, with us from HousingWire. Those of you that have been around the Bo Digital world long enough may remember a time when Brena actually worked with us. She was a content writer at Bo for a minute before HousingWire stole her away for kind of a dream position for you. And I'll let you talk more about what you do at HousingWire, Brena. But as a reminder for everybody, feel free to use the chat as we go along here. We want you to ask any questions you may have and things like that. You can use the chat and we will ask those of Brena at the end. Otherwise, she's got some stuff prepared to kind of let you guys know more about what's HousingWire doing, what should you know, and then we've got a couple of questions for Brena, and we'll do our usual lightning round at the end. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Brena. Thanks for being with us today.
Appreciate that introduction, Wayne. Heather, it's always a joy. As Wayne said, I think this is always just such a fun home base for me and a fun home spot, just because we've been able to work together a lot over the years, even though I think when I jumped onto this call, Wayne and I were saying time is a blur. And so I was doing the math a little bit ago, and I'm like, is that 3 years, 4 years now? And it seems like yesterday, but so much has changed in life, in the world, and in companies and all the things. So super exciting to be here right now.
Yes, it's all changed.
So much. It's almost an understatement at this point.
I know.
Well, I'll have a few slides for everyone just prepared to go over HousingWire, HW Media, and some of the latest changes to help everyone just feel informed on like what not really just we offer, but to our goal and my goal in my position is really to make sure everyone in this industry feels informed and connected on the latest changes. One of my favorite sayings is I think it's an understatement to say that things are changing rapidly fast, and this housing market in 2022 is shaping up to even be more drastically different than I think a lot of projections were being set out at the start of the year. And we're still only, I think, halfway through the year. And so my title, as kind of Wayne said, is Director of HW Plus and Events. And really what that means is I oversee our engagement with the community to make sure everyone in housing, title, real estate, mortgage, really even beyond that, because I think more than ever, peers and friends are even asking about the housing market right now. It's normal topic of conversation at the dinner table. So really, I think we take the industry, but also I think we all know that everyone's kind of asking questions when it comes to the housing market. So my goal and what I'm showing you guys is just where can we figure out the latest information so we feel equipped with research, data, and what's happening to go back out and like talk to our partners, talk to the industry. And so for those who aren't familiar, HW Media is a company with 4 brands, which I'll go into. And I'll go ahead and share my slide deck real fast. Pause for effect, as I like to say, as we make sure our old technology is doing good. Okay, can y'all see it? All right, perfect. So HW Media is kind of the parent company, and I went through and just went ahead and kind of said, what is our goal? This is a tagline. I've been with HousingWire since 2013. So I'm about to go on 10 years in the industry. And I'd like to say anyone who's been in this business long enough, you've all been through cycles and market cycles. So it's no surprise that the industry shifts and changes. We've gone through refi booms. We've gone through purchase booms. We're going back into a purchase boom. But what makes this cycle different? And so our job and our tagline is moving the housing market forward at HW Media. And we try to be the leading source of news for customer insights, what's going on in the community for housing real estate. And that encompasses so much, right? I know title goes into that, appraisal goes into that, closing goes into that, along with all the other kind of small markets within housing. It's such an overarching term. From there, what I'll kind of go into is our different brands. We have tech stacks, product capabilities, our newsroom, HW Plus. HW Plus will be a big area of focus for us, which is really just our membership arm in order to make sure that you guys are not only tapping into the daily news cycle that we have, but also able to enter into the community, figure out what other decision makers and companies are doing, figuring out what the leaders at the mortgage, real estate, title companies are saying about this space, and even engaging in like different channels with them. So you can almost have like this mastermind community built within our membership for HousingWire. Our four brands are FinLedger, HousingWire, Reverse Mortgage Daily, and Real Trends. All of those really make up HW Media. So that's like the parent company in a way. And all of these four brands all offer HW Plus. So that's our like membership, extra insights. It's where a lot of our articles, after you get, for example, changes based on site, but past two articles and articles blocked. That way to make sure our exclusive access is really staying for the people who get all the extra kind of swath of products that we offer. I'll dive into what each one does, but really these four brands have a lot of crossover, but they're also very distinct in what they offer. Everything from real estate and data, which is like Real Trends, to HousingWire, which is one of our longest running brands, which focuses on the housing market and everything within that, to FinLedger, which focus on prop tech and what different technologies that community banks are using or what the latest technology updates in the tech sector are. So really just helping you figure out what newsletters maybe you'd want to sign up for, which area of this is maybe best for you. I think time is very valuable. Time is money. At this point, it's your most valuable resource. So our goal is to figure out like what can you streamline your day when you kick off your morning to read? Are you wanting to know maybe where you want to expand your product offerings? Are you wanting to know what the future of the market looks like and how are we balancing what's happening with Fed and mortgage rates and where those are going to? Even right now, it's a great time to leverage partners and tech stacks and everything like that. So what technology should you be implementing in order to really survive and thrive right now? Okay, HW Plus. I have this slide here that really just goes into all of the benefits that I've kind of been mentioning when you go across different sites. It's everything from our magazine, which I'm still old school. I enjoy a cup of coffee on a Saturday morning with a magazine and a good couch chair. I think I have a love for print still, especially even reading a book. Maybe that's old school, but I think a lot of people can relate. Sometimes it's just nice to disconnect from your phone, take the magazine or whatever other hard piece of content, figure out what are the latest changes. Our magazine is very people focused. So within it, we spotlight our awards, we spotlight a lot of tech solutions and product solutions. So it's a good one-stop shop for what's happening in the community more than obviously it's print. So you're not going to get the latest news updates, but really just get a good dive on some of the good things happening in the industry and what accomplishments people are achieving in their space. I always joke that lets you see all these amazing bars that people are hitting and you're like, okay, I gotta achieve more a little bit here in order to become a rising star or a vanguard by the time I'm 50 plus in order to hit these award accolades that these amazing people in the space are able to achieve. From there, I think you have the obvious one, which is our digital content. That's kind of when you go to between the sites and you hit a certain paywall and all of a sudden you need access in order to read more, which is a great place. The HA Plus Community Access, we're about to switch to a new social platform, which is what I was mentioning earlier. If you want to chat with other decision makers, if you want to have a huddle with people who are in the same sector or business as you can go into private chats within that and just have a huddle. What are you guys seeing? What are you seeing? Or even huddle with some of our economists, or we'll bring people into that community for you to have Q&As with. That way you can the latest information. Going back to my first statement, it's an understatement that things are changing really fast. And so Logan Motoshami, who's our lead analyst, we interview him twice a week because the bond market and the stock market and mortgage rates are changing so fast. And the word recession has been getting used quite a bit. So it allows us to constantly pick his brain and other people in the industry to say, what are you seeing? And like, is this something that's we need to prepare for? Is this 3 months that we're looking at? Is this 6 months we're looking at when we'll be out of this recession? What does this recession mean for housing? Top questions like that, which you can go into our community, even have access to Logan. Networking events are what they sound like. We have a wonderful in-person event that hopefully I get to see Wayne at here in the fall, TBD, which would be fun. But our HDA Plus members also get exclusive pricing to our in-person and virtual events. Often our virtual events are free for them, but lets you see sessions, panels, stuff like that online or even in person in order to connect with people. I'm still old school. I like meeting with people in person. There's just something special about seeing face to face and building that like in-person relationship. So we're excited to offer those events as well. And then you have the HOA Plus Member Digest, which is 3 times a week member email only to our HOA Plus members in order for them to see what we have going on. I'd like to emphasize at this part, I know a lot of this presentation, I say my goal is to make sure you guys know where to go to figure out what information you want to read. HOA Plus, while it is a membership paid platform, so much of our content on the side still is in front of that membership paywall. So you can still access 1 to 2 articles on the site, figure out what's going on. We still have podcasts, so many options and mediums for you guys to go to. So whether you want to just subscribe to a podcast and you prefer listening it into your commute into the office to figure out from our editor-in-chief what's going on, to signing up for even this membership platform, to maybe just attending an event. We try to have different avenues for everyone to figure out what's best for you guys. Let's start with HousingWire. So this is our kind of flagship, one of our oldest. Real Trends is has a great tenure as well. We acquired it about like 2 years ago. Going back to time as a blur, I think it was 2 years ago. But HousingWire was founded in right at the height of the financial crisis, when everyone was looking for news and needed to know what's going on. So we cover, you can see the tabs: mortgage, real estate, closing, appraisal, valuations. HW Plus articles are the tags that you'll see. Really everything now is HW Plus in a way, going back to that dynamic paywall. So if you as a member kind of can go through, figure out what articles you want to subscribe to. There's newsletters like Lending Life or appraisal valuations or closing time that we have just for different beats. If you want to zero in on just one market, you only want to know what's happening in closing, so you can do the closing time, or you only want to know what's going on with real estate, so you can do Real Trends Daily to figure out what real estate agents are thinking. So similar to, ESPN, Hulu, and their third arm, Nat Geo, that grouping there, depending on what you want, whether it's all or you want to tailor on one spot, you can figure out kind of what's best for you. And that also comes with the magazine. I'm like going back to the old school. It's fun to have different covers of people on the magazine. We've had photo shoots with some the Rising Stars. One has Morgan Salama, who used to be at Realogy, which is really exciting too. You'll see 3 of them have our award programs on the cover. So a lot of big names get to come through to show, are you, a CFO at XYZ company, or are you a tech product at XYZ company, just showing what these companies are doing and who are the movers and shakers in the space in so many different categories. And all of that goes back into the magazine. To Real Trends. Real Trends, like I said, we acquired about 2 years ago. This is really a good go-to spot if you're looking on data and research on the industry. So you might have heard of the Real Trends Rankings 500. So basically it's the list of, Real Trends and Tom Ferry's America's Best Real Estate Professionals get together and make this list of individuals by sales volume. There was an interesting quote that we had recently where someone said, if you really kind of want, this is my summary, but if you really want to see how someone's doing in the market, you really look at their not their volume as much as their size. So figuring out actually how many numbers of transactions they've done in a market like this. So it lets you say, oh, here in Pennsylvania, how many homes were sold in this area, or in Utah, how many homes were sold, to let you see and gauge what's happening in the market. We've had mortgage professionals look at this closely, title professionals look at it closely, because they just want to know and get a really good in-depth pulse that's data-based on what's happening in the industry. A lot of that information is open and available for everyone to look at, but then we do have small touches like download with HW Plus. If you want to download it, print it. I like going back to that hard copy, print it, highlight stuff as you see fit. This is a great place for you to see what's going on, but it's research. It's another good study that they put out was based on profitability and CEO comp. So that one's behind the paywall, but it shows you, okay, what is the average salary of a CEO at XYZ brokerage? How much money are they spending on marketing? How much time are they putting into even those marketing efforts? So getting to see some of the behind the scenes. So we'll take this list of top professionals and then we interview those people to get inside data on, okay, how are you running your business? How are you paying for people? And what trends are you watching, to let everyone go a level deeper into these insights and just different data, so you guys can feel equipped with the market research, as we like to call it. Then you have Reverse Mortgage Daily, and then you also have Fin Ledger. I'll just touch on those two lightly. Reverse Mortgage Daily is what it sounds like. Reverse mortgages, there's often a lot of misconceptions there. We've seen a rise when it comes to reverse mortgages, non-QM product, just different ways for people to want to differentiate their business. So if you're just looking for knowledge on what's happening in this space, the growth happening in the space, along with Fin Ledger, what is the growth in technology? These are 2 really good places to go to see what are the extra tech products, things happening in the housing space that maybe are a little bit more niche, but still great areas of growth for a lot of companies, or needed growth in order to get their tech stack to full capabilities to grow. From those two, HousingWire Annual, which I mentioned earlier, this is the event parts of HW Plus where we'll get to see Wayne in person down in Scottsdale, Arizona. There's exclusive pricing for these events in order for our members to come, because we want the people who are highly engaged looking at the industry at these events in order to network with and chat with. So at this event specifically, we also have many forums around it. So we have a Women of Influence forum at the start with our women leaders in the space. We have a Marketing Leader Success Summit at the start of it to chat with different CMOs in the industry. So it just lets you look into some very niche forums, and not, I wouldn't say niche, but like good smaller networking events where you can sit down with people at a table and brainstorm, how are these women in leadership getting to their roles, or what are the marketing strategies that you've implemented to grow, just stuff like that, to have good confabs with everybody, along with 2 days of agenda events on regulation, housing, economist. I think a lot of people, I keep saying Logo Motoshami as their lead analyst, but people have so many questions for them. So I like to emphasize, hey, if you have any questions on what's going on with a future recession, with what's happening with rates, what's happening with home prices, what's happening with home price declines, how do we digest this information? Great person to follow and listen to get on the pulse information, since it's changing so fast. And then we also just like to spotlight our members. This is just a few screenshots of different profiles we do of who's in our community, from Rogers Healy, who's a top brokerage agent down in Dallas, to someone like Sarah DeSantis, who's at United Wholesale Mortgage and is their CMO. So just great people for you guys to connect with and see who's in the community, because my goal, even though I've spent about 15 minutes now chatting away, is not to be the center or face of this, but really to let our members be the center and face on this, because that's whose information and insights that you want access to. You want to know, what is Shant Fanosian, who is the #1 top producing agent in the nation, what is he doing to gain leads right now? How is he growing your business? To someone like Rogers Healy, who's a real estate agent in Dallas, top growing Metroplex, what is he doing to keep his top talent, gain market share? What is he doing to talk to title professionals? What is he doing to talk to lenders right now? And so we try to spotlight our members quite a bit, asking them what trends they're following, what keeps them up at night. That way you can see what other people are doing, and we try to be the resource in the media to spotlight them and maybe people like you. So you can come in and also be a voice of, the way I like to say it is, collaboration is what's going to make this industry move forward. Like, we're helping move markets forward, but it's really our members and our community who need to come together to figure out how can we change housing for the better going forward. And that's the secret sauce that I'd like to say makes up HG Plus. It's really the people who are saying, this is what housing needs to do. This is what disruption looks like. This is what innovation looks like, and coming together in those conversations. But that's kind of a summary of my PowerPoint as I chatted all about it. If you guys do, I wanted to offer, if anyone wants a discount code to HW Plus, feel free to reach out. My email's super easy. It's Brena, Brena, at hwmedia.com. I say that as long as you get the spelling of my name right, then you're solid and you'll get through to me. So one end there, but happy to provide anyone with a discount code. We also have good group options for people to get inside, along with, as I mentioned previously, a lot of the podcasts and places that you can access for starting your day off with a cup of coffee on the couch or at your office desk, reading through what's going on so you feel in the know, to maybe it's just getting updates throughout the day so you feel equipped with the latest changes. But feel free to reach out. We have a 50% off code that I'd be happy to give people in order to join, to not miss out on anything. But that is kind of my fast recap on all things HousingWire, HW Media, Real Trend, Spin Ledger, so everyone knows.
Thanks, Brena. That was great. A couple of things I didn't even know. We're a HousingWire Plus member, and I get a lot from those groups and those conversations and stuff like that. And I could probably do even more and should do more. And so I put Brena's email in the chat, and I said, ask for that code. You definitely should take her up on that. It's really useful info. And I think that I had a more softball question for you, Brena, but a lot of our folks that are on here or will be listening to this are in the title space.
Yep.
What's in it for them? Like, when they're thinking about, aside from, the more savvy folks will realize that the bigger the network that they have, the more likely they're to get referral business and to learn and all of that kind of stuff. But outside of that, is there a space for more of like the servicing industry, those kinds of the title professionals within not just HousingWire Plus, but the HousingWire publications?
Yeah. Title, closing, big things there that I think we're all looking at. It's funny that you asked that, because actively right now, or good timing. Maybe I've been using the word funny way too loosely when things aren't funny, but good timing for that question because I'm working on a panel right now for HousingWire Annual on the title space and tried to get someone from the Big Four lender, tried to get someone from a real estate office. So I think the best way I would address your question is what we try to offer title professionals in the closing space is trying to see how people are navigating that right now. So we talked to someone at like Morgan Slama, who we had on the cover. She used to be in charge of title and real estate at Realogy and the strategic partnerships that can happen there. So trying to look at the different ways that people are including title. I know, I mean, Wayne, you're even an expert in this space. So we maybe the news to you, but we even got Marcus Hunt on the panel. So Marcus is going to be joining us as well to give his insight with title success there. So he's on the panel again this year just to get different opinions on some of the top questions. One, like what is defining disruption, defining what innovation is happening here, defining what some people are doing when it comes to M&A activity, and even the fun word like blockchain that's getting thrown out quite a bit. So where does blockchain live in the title industry? So I would say that panel is just one example of where you see title and HousingWire, and that could be amplified through, if you go to housingwire.com, you'll see the tab for title. We have a closing time newsletter that goes out, I think every Monday is when it comes out. That's a free newsletter. People just sign up and it's interviews with, some of the top Big Four to the vendors that are included in it to just even the economic trends. So I would say that newsletter is such a good place to start than to, we have webinars and lunch and learns and this in-person panel for title, because we've seen, just like I'm sure you guys all know firsthand, that title is the top question, and there's a lot of changes going on there in a positive way of moving the market forward.
And that's a really good point. And I try to bring this up to a lot of our customers that are, if they feel like what's in it for me and they're trying to think about that, I talk about these types of opportunities with HousingWire as a way to network. If you feel like other companies with joint ventures are eating your lunch, a good way to get around that is to talk to some of these guys that are producing. And this is a broader community. Sometimes in title we're really insular. We focus on networking within our industry and that sort of thing, and it's not always super helpful. And this is a great way to get national business, investor business, that kind of thing. It can really be a good business development opportunity for you, which is why I encourage people to do that. And while Heather asks a question here, I'll put the newsletter link in here so you can select the closing time newsletter and then put in your email address to sign up for that if you want to. There are other newsletters as well that are really useful, but I think the more information you can have these days when it feels like it's changing hour by hour, the better.
Yeah, I just had a more lighthearted question since Wayne's been throwing the hard ones at you. How'd you get started in this industry?
I think, isn't that the fun question? I joke that one day, and I hope everyone on this call, one day we're going to be sitting on a stage and someone's going to say, I dreamed of getting into this industry. One day that'll happen. We're working on changing the narrative to let college professionals know, like, this is a great place. If you are a hard worker, if you're an entrepreneur, if you like to make stuff your own, go into this business. That's not my story or a lot of people's stories. I think a lot of us kind of fell into it one way or the other. I graduated college in 2013, and just like any other college person was trying to find a job, and HousingWire popped up. This was right at the tail end of, maybe that's the wrong wording, so financial crisis 2008, come 2012 2013, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was coming out. There's a lot of regulation and news happening around the title, the mortgage, the real estate space, and there was a lot to cover. I came on board because, as I'm sure you guys have seen in your own worlds, a lot of people were angry at Fannie, Freddie, the government for everything that happened. And that was sometimes being seen in journalism. People were angry with what's going on and they would rather train a fresh face. And so I, at the time, thought, I love budgeting. This will be great. I'll figure out what a mortgage rate is. And I've never bought a home, but this is going to be great. What's a title? And from there, really was able to just kind of grow into what I do today. So I don't do as much day-to-day writing. I'm definitely on the events, membership, community side of things, but was able to grow that into something that now I can hopefully talk to ex-college student and say, this is a great field. Go into title, go into real estate. This is a great profession for you. Because I would like to venture to say a lot of us do have a passion for this industry. So how can we change this narrative to get people to join?
Yeah, I joined the industry around the same time. I joined in 2012, and I feel like people told me when I started that it's kind of sleepy sometimes, and sometimes it's very as much as it's cyclical, it's very you can expect everything that's going to happen. For the last 10 years, I feel like every year there's something new that people are either fretting over or excited about. Which brings me to my last question before Heather asks some of her lightning round questions here. What you brought up, like blockchain, and there's a lot of buzziness happening right now. And I know you guys are planning for HousingWire Annual. What are you hearing as like the buzziest thing right now? What are people really paying attention to? If you're trying to be on the cutting edge of what's happening, or for trying to figure out for your customers' sake what they're most interested in, what is that right now?
I'm going to answer how I see best. And unfortunately, it's a semi not silver lining answer, but I do think there's some silver linings in it. I think Logan Motoshami, who I've mentioned a few times, I cannot stress enough how much I think everyone's trying to tune in, no matter what part of the industry you're in, especially because he has this recession flag model. It's 6 flags, and then he labels the market as a recession. He's almost raised that 6 flag. I think what's huge, and I think we all can really agree with here, is that we are not going into another housing market crash. This is nothing like 2008. But given that, what is this like? What makes this market different? And the wording that Logan says is we're entering a savagely unhealthy housing market. But we still, I mean, I was on Facebook the other day, someone still is hitting record-setting business in this industry. There's a lot of silver linings here. So I would emphasize reading Logan, and I'd say he's the buzziest that we're noticing across the board, just because he's letting you take, okay, how do I unpack? It's easy to walk out and you have X person in your community or in your professional world that's saying, this is happening with the Fed and mortgage rates are about to do this. And you're like, okay, how do I go forward in my business if mortgage rates are going here? Or someone just said the world economy is doing this. How do I digest that? And we've just watched a lot of leaders, and really any level of a business, tune into what he's saying. And even the government's watching what he's saying, just to say like, okay, he has a lot of data that he's following. So I'd say that's maybe the buzziest, and he's helping give the silver linings, I would say, to digest the good parts, or even the parts that you need to understand, or some parts that are like, okay, this is how we're going to get through this type person. But Logan Motoshami, solid person to listen to. So I guess a name is my buzzword.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, Brena, due to time, we're going to quickly do the lightning round. And I just have a couple fun, quick questions. I always say whatever comes to mind first is what you should say. Don't think too hard on these. First question is, what is your favorite day of the week?
Friday.
What is a nickname your parents used to call you?
Not a nickname, but close. Brena. So my name is pronounced Brena.
Very nice. Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
It's funny because I was a vegan. No.
Perfect. Who is your first celebrity crush?
First celebrity crush, and still my favorite celebrity would be Zac Efron. Just my diehard fan over here.
I like that he transitions with our age group.
Yeah, well, that's why he's
growing. Yeah. Say a word in Spanish.
Hola.
That's the one that came to mind too when I wrote this question. Would you rather climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
I live in Colorado, so climb a mountain.
For sure. I picked that one for you. Who has it easier, men or women?
Ooh, men.
No doubt. How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
Heather, I wish to aspire to be your strength one day, but I would say assisted, so many. Do my weight assisted, all of them. No help, 0.
Perfect. Big dogs or small dogs?
Big, medium.
Perfect. Last one. Stale Sour Patch Kids or stale circus peanuts?
Oh, stale Sour Patch Kids. all the way. Still normal.
Yeah.
But what color of Sour Patch is your
Oh,
favorite?
blue. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah. That was the quickest answer she's
Yeah.
given.
I know.
I know my Sour Patch Kids.
Heather, what's your favorite color?
Red.
Also a good one.
Fine for the Sour Patch Kids. Yep.
What's yours, Wayne?
Red.
Red.
If you said yellow.
Yeah, we were defriending for sure.
Or great friends, because then we can share.
Oh yeah, you could share the bag.
Exactly.
I'm not sharing my blues.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Brena, for great information about HousingWire. Please use Brena's email address in the chat here. If you're not, if you're watching the recording of this, we'll make sure it's in the description, as well as the link to sign up for newsletters from HousingWire. We have our next full package webinar series coming up in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for more information from Heather on that. And thank you guys for participating. Thanks again, Brena. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.